In the course of the work that you have done, have you come to form an opinion as to whether gay people have been historically the subject of prejudice and discrimination?
Yes, there have been certainly points in history where that has been true.
Have there been some cultures that have been tolerant of homosexuality?
Yes, as a subculture.
What are the cultures that you are aware of that have been tolerant of homosexuality?
Well, I would say in the past the Indian culture was relatively tolerant. There was the tradition of the hijras, which was a sub-tradition.
What was that tradition?
The hijras, it operated somewhat like a caste, and it was a tradition of male-to-male relationships, sometimes with a ritual that it was even akin to marriage, but it was never the norm for the society as a whole. It was a sub-tradition that had a certain amount of recognition to it.
I'm not really that familiar with India, so this may be a very obvious question. But are the hijras located in any particular part of India?
No, they're found in several different places.
Throughout India?
Throughout India.
Okay. How long have the hijra existed?
I'm not sure where we could begin to date them. It is a community today.
Is it a community that has existed at least for centuries?
I would suspect for at least a few centuries.
Let me ask a simple question. Based on everything that you know about the hijra, how long have they existed?
I would say a couple of centuries. For a textual documentation of this.
Would you give me some examples of other exceptions from other cultures?
Okay, so it's a well-known fact that the Berdache in North America had some kind of same-sex marriage in some of the tribes, not all of them.
Could you spell that tribe for the record?
It was not a tribe. It was a general category called Berdache.
Berdache. That is a general category of people?
It's, yes, same category of people where there would be same-sex relations and in some contexts same-sex marriage.
And where were these people?
In the United States, Lakota tribe, I believe. So there are some Plains Indians groups where the Berdache was a well-known phenomenon. Religious groups that had shaman traditions. The shaman traditions were often Berdache.
And were the Berdache regions other than North America?
I believe it's a North American phenomenon under that name.
Does the same phenomena exist in other regions under a different name?
Well, we can take several other examples. There is considerable, as a sub-tradition, not as a norm, marriages...
Excuse me, you said as a sub-tradition, not as a norm.
Okay, my definition of marriage is what works as the prevailing norm.
By prevailing norm, you mean what most people do, correct?
What most people do.
Okay.
Then you can have sub-traditions, and we can see in several different cultures that there are sub-traditions.
Okay. I just want to get your nomenclature right.
Okay.
When you're referring to the norm, you're referring to what most people do, and when you refer to sub-traditions, You are referring to exceptions to the norm, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are there other exceptions to your norm in other regions?
Yes, in West Africa there are some lesbian marriages.
Did you say West Africa?
I believe it's West Africa. In China, among the silk workers, there's another example of lesbian marriages.
Are there other examples that you are familiar with of exceptions to what you say is the norm of marriage being limited to people of the opposite sex?
Yes, we know that in Roman culture, among some of the Roman emperors, there were some same-sex marriages.
What other examples?
Well, then there are many other examples of same-sex relationships. I'm using the examples of when there was some kind of formal recognition in the context of what we could call marriage. Okay, so we could go into a long history of same-sex relationships, of which there would then be quite a long history and quite a large anthropological study.
Is the term gay bashing a term with which you're familiar?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, it can mean anything from taunting to physical assault.
Do you have an opinion as to whether the bigotry and prejudice against gays and lesbians in the United States was in substantial part based on religious beliefs?
There was a religious component to it, yes.
You say there was a religious component to the prejudice and bigotry in the United States against gays and lesbians, is that correct?
Yes.
And do certain religions teach that homosexuality is a sin?
Yes.
As you understand it, does the Roman Catholic Church have a view as to homosexuality activity outside of the priesthood? Do you understand the question?
Yes. Yes, in general, I think that there is a continuing view that homosexuality is wrong.
Does the Roman Catholic religion assert that homosexual activity among lay people is sinful? If you know.
If I know. I think that is the general position.
Let me use your word of durability. Do you believe that children are advantaged by increasing the durability of the relationship of the couple raising them?
Yes.
And do you believe that the durability of the relationship of a gay couple is enhanced by permitting the gay couple to marry?
On that variable, yes.
And you believe that allowing gay couples to marry will increase the durability of those gay couples' relationships, correct?
Okay, I'd say yes.
Okay. And increasing the durability of those relationships is beneficial to the children that they're raising, correct?
On that one factor, yes.
Okay. And is it the case that the number of children being raised in families that you describe as the norm was decreasing significantly before there was any gay marriage in the United States?
It was decreasing.
Is it the case that love and commitment are the reasons that most people give for wanting to marry?
Today, probably yes.
Indeed, you have seen studies that indicate that, correct?
Yes.
And you have not seen any studies that indicate the contrary, correct?
Correct.
And do you believe that love and commitment are reasons that both gay people and heterosexuals have for wanting to marry?
Correct.
And arranged marriages are declining in proportion and have been declining in proportion for quite a number of years.
In proportion to what?
Non-arranged marriages. What you refer to as love marriages or choice marriages.
Arranged marriages have declined, depends on the country, Islamic world, India, and so forth. So arranged marriages have declined a bit, but they certainly have not been overtaken by so-called love marriages.
But they have declined, even in the places where they predominate, correct?
They have declined.
And where arranged marriages have declined, have you seen an increase in divorce rates?
Yes.
Have you also found that divorce rates are correlated with female literacy?
I cannot refer to specific studies, but I may have read something to that effect.
And are you aware of a correlation between declining birth rates and increased female literacy? Yes,
that correlation exists.
This is a statement of the American Psychoanalytic Association. I want to direct your attention to the position statement issued by the American Psychoanalytic Association, approved January 17th, 2008. Do you see that? Titled Marriage Resolution?
Yes, down here.
And let me ask you to look at the marriage resolution. It begins, whereas homosexuality is a normal variant of adult sexuality. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any reason to disagree with that statement?
I would prefer to have a working definition of homosexuality here, but I have no basic problem with this.
The second statement says, whereas gay men and lesbians possess the same potential and desire for sustained, loving, and lasting relationships as heterosexuals. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
The next statement says, whereas same-sex couples are raising children and have the same potential and desire as heterosexual couples to love and parent children. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
If you have a single parent, your view is it doesn't make any difference whether that single parent is a male or a female, correct?
Correct.
And your opinion is it doesn't make any difference whether that single parent is gay or straight, correct?
Correct.
My question is it your view that because something was the norm in the past, it should be continued in the future?
Okay. Now I'll answer that question. Shall I answer it?
Yes. If you,
Okay, not necessarily.
okay.
Just because something is a norm doesn't necessarily mean it is an appropriate norm. And it has to then be reassessed in the contemporary context to see if there are good reasons why that norm should remain.
We talked earlier about the fact that gay people have historically been subject to prejudice and discrimination. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Now, it's the case that women have also historically been subject to prejudice and discrimination, correct?
Correct.
And the prejudice and discrimination against women, like the prejudice and discrimination against gay people, was often justified by religious assertions and beliefs, correct?
Sometimes it was, yes.
Often it was, correct?
Often it was.
And the discrimination and prejudice against women was also often justified by the argument that it promoted or protected the traditional family, correct?
Yes.
And various racial groups, including blacks, have historically been subject to prejudice and discrimination, correct?
Correct.
And that prejudice and discrimination, again, like the prejudice and discrimination against gays and lesbians, was often justified by religion, correct?
Correct.
And do you have a view as to whether in states today law continues to be based on religion?
No, because you have the doctrine of the separation of church and state.